YouTube vinyl community, fans of album covers, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we're here today to talk about my top 10 favorite album covers of all time as of 2020, as I'm filming this. My tastes can change with the weather, with the day. You know, if you ask me this tomorrow, I might have 10 totally different albums, but I thought this would be a fun video just to kind of show off some different stuff. And 10 of my favorites as of right now, as I'm making this video in 2020. So let's see what you guys think. So, the Beach Boys, Friends, one of my favorite album covers of all time. I think the peaceful imagery of the clouds on a bright sunny day with the mountains and they're all smiling and happy really reflects the peaceful, tranquil mood of this album. And the back cover just as much with that sunset. Very much sounds like the songs Diamond Head or Passing By. It's perfect. A nice calm album cover. Really enjoy that one. Up next is Temptations' Greatest Hits Volume 2. I've loved this album cover ever since I was a kid. I think it's so cool the way they spell out Temptations with the 2 at the end, and they got the different artwork inside each letter for the songs that are on the album. Got a great shot of the guys up there hanging out, looking super groovy in their cool 60s suits, and this picture of them on the back. I think it's just fantastic. I've always loved how they look on this album cover. I like the layout of the songs on side 1 and side 2 like that. It's a very well-designed, eye-catching greatest hits album. But beyond the fact the music is fantastic, I think the album cover just looks super cool. So, Temptations' Greatest Hits, Volume 2 from 1970. Up next, The Who's Magic Bus album. Released in America, this was a compilation of some B-sides, EP tracks, some unreleased kind of stuff. I just love this cover. What a groovy cover. You got Keith hanging at the door, John's flying off, Pete and Roger kind of looking on. But I love this era for them, where they were starting to grow their hair out, they were starting to wear more groovier clothes, and just the font. You know, Magic Bus, The Who, on tour, which it's not a live album, but they were touring at that point. So, that bus just looks so cool. Plus, Magic Bus is one of my favorite songs by them. So, this is actually a sealed copy. This has never been opened, which is pretty interesting. Never been opened from the 60s. Up next, one of my favorite albums of all time, let alone album covers, but David Bowie, Low. I mean, what more can be said about this masterpiece? This is actually a Japanese copy, which sounds just incredible. It's got the insert, but the music on this thing, really, the cover reflects the music. It's this whole spacey, otherworldly, other dimension, you know, from a different time kind of feeling. And the cover completely represents that. The way he looks, the way he's blankly staring out to nothingness. The jacket. You know, there's a mystique to this album. Love it. David Bowie, Low, probably my favorite Bowie album. If I had to pick one, that's probably it. I love that record. The Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones, the Rolling Stones. Between the Buttons, I think this looks so cool. I'm happy to see Charlie up front and center. I mean, come on. The driving rhythm of the band. Put him up front. Brian just looks so cool. I mean, he's out of it. I think they took this picture at like 5 or 6 in the morning when the sun was coming up after they'd been up all night. And they look like it. They look kind of tired, but I love the blurry-ish picture quality. The trees are still barren. Kind of a very soft light from the sun coming up. Charlie's blue tie sticking out really well, matching the sky. Aesthetically, it's cool. Plus, it doesn't mention anything about who they are. Doesn't say the Rolling Stones. Well, I mean, it does, but how can you see that on their buttons? Come on, it's a very unique photograph of the guys. Up next, easily, if I had to pick, probably my favorite Beatles album cover, The American Rubber Soul. And I picked the American one particularly just because of the color they use for the title of the album. In the English ones, it's more of a reddish orange. On this one, it's more of a brownish, kind of a bronze color. But I mean, this is the one I grew up with, The American Rubber Soul. And I love this album. If I had to pick, it's probably my favorite Beatles album ever, The American Rubber Soul. I think it just makes more sense than the English one. But yeah, freaking love this album. Perfect album cover. Their hair looks so cool. Their jackets look cool. The green in the background. I mean, they just look like tough folkies or something. I mean, it's fantastic. It's great. Next up is Of Montreal, Coquelicot and the Poppies, released in 2001. One of my favorite albums they ever put out. It's a double LP set. But just the imagery that David Barnes does throughout almost all their album covers. It says Of Montreal up there. You know, kind of make that a little bit. But the detail in the drawing, the intricate line work, and the pretty faces on the characters sort of floating down. And it continues to the back with the other characters from the story. But basically, it's a concept album, if you will. I mean, it's a very long album, but a very rewarding experience. It's psychedelic, pop, indie pop, music wrapped up into one, if you will. Very highly recommended. Of Montreal, Coquelicot and the Poppies. Check it out. Up next, the Mooney Suzuki Electric Sweat. When I discovered this album when I was about 14 or 15 years old, this album blew my mind. I never knew rock music could sound like this. It's loud, it's fast, it's fun, it's very raw and primal, but the cover perfectly reflects it. Just a bright orange record where the guy's wailing away on the front cover. I mean, it's such a good album. Highly recommend. I love the really erratic looking font. Looks like it's shaking. You know, their logo, they used that font for a long time. But it's the sort of grainy image of the guys against this stark orange. And when it came out on CD, when they switched from Gammon to, was it Columbia Records? They went to Columbia. It was more of a purple on the CD. But I just picked this up about a year or two ago, the original LP on Gammon. So very happy to finally have that thing in my collection. St. Vincent, her album called Actor. I'm a huge St. Vincent fan. She's one of the best guitarists and lyricists of our generation. She's absolutely fantastic. I wish I could play guitar like she plays, but she's got these crazy fingers that can just do stuff that sounds like it's out of a different dimension. But I love the sort of aloofness on this cover, the way she's kind of blankly staring away, kind of like Low from David Bowie. There's similarities here, but she's like in this void, this sort of orange void. Kind of happy, kind of despondent, kind of aloof, kind of comfortable, but also awkward and uncomfortable. There's a lot of feelings that I see in her eyes when I see this album cover. Plus, I think her hair is awesome. It's very cool hair. And we'll wrap it up here with Weezer's Blue album. I mean, this album takes me back. What a classic cover, the four guys standing there getting their picture taken like it's the world's most awkward school photo shoot. But stark white with the guys in the front. I have something apparently about simple colors and the pictures of people on the front cover. Apparently that's what strikes me the most. Huh. That's interesting. But, I mean, I just love the blue. The shade of blue they chose is fantastic. The simple logo that they've used since day one. You know, the guys kind of giving slightly different expressions. Matt looks a little bit worried. Rivers is pretty confident. Pat looks happy to be there. Brian's happy he's in the band at this point. Yeah, love this album. This is from 2001, I think. This edition, the album's from the 90s, but this pressing, I think, is from 2001. I got it at Hot Topic. Way back in the day. But fantastic album. Just love the look. Very 90s. So these albums are, of course, in no particular order. There's no favorite album cover of all time because, again, like I said, it's going to change. It's going to be different 2 months from now. Or maybe some of these will stay in the bin. I don't know. As my favorite picks. But, yeah. Very curious to know what are some of your favorite album covers and why. I really enjoyed doing this. I'll make more of these videos as my tastes change over the years. We'll see who sticks around. I'm very curious to know what I will have in my list going forward. But as of 2020, these are my favorites. You know, there's no number one. There are just 10 favorites. So thank you so much for watching. My name is Giggens, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and have a great day. Have a great day.